challenging. So we pulled together as many partnerships, as many relationships that very intentionally, very strategically, right, that can help us grow our community of entrepreneurs. All right. We serve across several industries, from business and consulting, construction, retail, IT and software, administrative support. We have several food companies also, and so we're industry agnostic. We're not just technology companies. We're across all different industries. In terms of product companies versus, let's say, service companies, probably about 30 to 40% are product-based versus service-based. Technology companies is probably only 10 to 15% who are just pure technology. But we want every company to be technology-enabled, right, from that standpoint. So that's a critical component. And actually, we're close to almost 60% of our entrepreneurs are women versus men. Man, we got to catch up. But yes, but again, 60% of entrepreneurs or so we actually serve almost about 58 or 59% are actually women within our program. Currently, we're about 350 businesses that we support, and we're looking to actually continue to grow that to about 1,000 by over the next 5 to 6 years to that point. We'll jump ahead. All right, so let's get into kind of the concept for the day. Hopefully you've already picked up a few nuggets along the way, and we'll kind of get a little bit more deeper into this from that standpoint. So let's talk about the digital landscape. So when we think about your business, and I like to kind of break things down into kind of simple categories and to kind of simplify things for me, because I think it helps to simplify business overall from that standpoint. I don't care what business that you're in. So this is my theory, and you all can tell me if I'm crazy or not, or you be like, yeah, that's right, that makes sense. No matter what business you're in, everything that you do can fall into me these 4 categories. Everything, no matter technology, construction, retail. If you're a lawyer, you're in fashion, everything is going to fall into one of these 4 categories. The first one is you have a solution, right? So no matter if it's a product or a service, it's a solution to somebody's problem. If you have created a business or come up with an idea or a concept in any way, shape, or form that doesn't solve a customer's problem, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. Okay? So no matter what it is, again, if it's baking and you're making something, it should solve somebody's problem of wanting or desiring something that's refreshing or filling, right? It tastes good. If you're in fashion, right, it should solve somebody's problem of needing to wear something that they didn't have before, or having something that looks in a way, creative in a way that fills a need that they didn't have. Does that make sense? Anybody disagree with me? Okay, good. We're on the same page. We can keep going. All right. So yeah, so you're gonna have a solution, again, a product or a service, no matter what industry that you're talking about. You have to solve a problem, which means you're a solution for somebody, right? Hopefully a lot of somebody. Next is you got to source your solution from somewhere. Your product, you're sourcing goods, right? You're sourcing raw materials. If you're a product-based company. If you're a service-based company, you still have to source your solution from somewhere. You just might be sourcing it from your mind, or sourcing it from somebody else's mind, if it's intellectual property, right? If you're providing a service, it's still being sourced, but it may be you're sourcing from technology. Even if you're putting or creating technology, that technology is being sourced from different places. In a lot of cases, intellectual property, right? People's minds and ideas, in order to be put together into a solution. Does that make sense? Right? So you still have to source whatever your solution is from somewhere. Then you have to have systems internally that support your business. You have to have accounting systems, right? Because you don't want to get in trouble with the law, right? Anybody here just want to go to jail? We're not paying your taxes? Okay, that's good. Keep your hands down, please. Everybody keep your hands down. Nobody wants to go to jail for not paying your taxes, right? So you have to have systems. You have to have accounting systems. You have to have systems for hiring people, right? You have to have systems for sourcing, right? You have to have systems for turning your raw materials into a solution, whether it be a product or a service. What is your system for doing that? Does it make sense? Right? And then selling. You got to be able to sell it, because if you make it and don't sell it, again, you have a hobby. And there's nothing wrong with having a hobby, but you can't have a hobby that doesn't make any money if you're going to call that a business, right? So you have to, after you source it, right, after you have a solution or idea, right, and have a system, then you got to go sell it to somebody, right? Hopefully the same person you said it was the solution for, right? So anybody, can anybody think of something in your business that you do something that doesn't fall into one of these 4 categories? Okay, yes, my theory is correct. Anybody? You think of something that you do in your business that doesn't fall into one of these 4 categories? No? Okay, good. All right. So when we think of these 4 things then we can think of really digital innovations that are happening today that are going to fall in one of these 4 categories. Things that are going to make your product or service better, either make it cheaper, make it more efficient, make it more effective, make it more impactful, right? How you source using digital innovations to source it more efficiently, to source it more cost effectively, right? To source it easier, to source it maybe in larger quantities, depending on what it is, right? To source a higher quality, right? So you think about your digital innovations, what can you use to source your materials better? Does that make sense? Okay. And then you can stay on another one. Sorry. You're going to stay on that previous slide real quick. Nope. Let's go back. Yeah, just there. We'll stay there for 1 second and we'll keep moving. So we think about your systems, right? How do you communicate with, we'll talk about systems and selling, but how do you communicate with your customers more effectively? How do you use digital innovations and technology to do that more effectively? So that maybe you can contact, instead of having to pick up the phone and call 10 people a day, but have a system that can actually contact 1,000 people a day, right? To maybe have your process that before, let's say it was a manual application, right, to, let's say, manufacture your good, and you could only, your output was only 100 pieces a day, to maybe use digital technology that you can actually do then 10,000 pieces a day, right? When we think about your systems, right, think about how does digital technology help you improve your system. Does that make sense? Right? And then even selling, right? How do you use digital technologies to help you sell more effectively, more efficiently, close more deals with less time, right? Because again, that now improves your ability to sell to those customers using digital technology. All right, so now we can. All right, so yeah, you can go to the next. So again, 3 categories that we'll talk about have some specific applications, and again, there may be some ideas that I'll give you all a chance to share some things that you all may be using in the room, because again, I think a lot of the education and support and resources actually may come from your colleagues in the room, so definitely give you all a chance to share some of what you may use in those 4 categories. So in these 3 categories where we see, again, a lot of impact happening, we're going to talk about e-commerce, right? We're going to talk about digital marketing and data analytics as kind of 3 kind of key areas where we see digital innovations happening, and definitely happening at a rapid pace. But again, if you think about your business, these are 3 areas, right, that if you can apply digital innovations in these 3 areas, you'll definitely see your business grow, expand, and over time also become sustainable. All right, so let's go to the 3. All right, so internet penetration in Uganda. So I found the statistic, and it basically says 23%. There's 23% penetration of broadband or high-speed internet, indicating substantial growth potential. You all, that may actually be low. I don't know. You all might be able to tell me. So basically, almost 1 out of 4, I guess, people in Uganda basically is saying that actually has access, right, to high-speed internet, right? So, because if you're in business and you don't have access to the internet, right, or at least high-speed internet, that just makes doing business that much harder in this digital age. Would you agree? Right. Anybody here old enough? Maybe somebody here as old as I was, as I am, that you know what dial-up internet means? Anybody in here know what dial-up internet? Here's what dial-up internet is for those who don't know. It was basically one phone line in your house, and if somebody that means this was even before cell phones. Everything was a landline. And if somebody was on the internet, you couldn't make a phone call because literally it was only one line. Today, that doesn't even make sense for most people, right, to even think that that's even possible. But literally, dial-up internet. And I know Mauricio can probably relate. I don't know about anybody else in the room. He didn't even want to admit it either, right? So literally, you can only do one thing at a time. So think about if that was the case today, where even on your cell phone, what if you couldn't send an email, talking on the phone, because some of you do that right now, right? You're sending an email, you're posting something on social media, you're sending a text, literally all at the same time, which is pretty incredible, like to even be able to do that. But imagine if you had to run your business and you couldn't do those 3 or 4 things at one time, that you can only do one at a time, right? And so that's why the internet, so we don't think about the internet because sometimes it just works, right? But it is so critical and so important that those who don't have access to it are actually limited, right, and be able to grow the business. But here's the thing about it. Are you maximizing the tools that are in your hands? In this case, this is literal, right, where some people look at their phones or their tablet or their computer as something that they have, but they don't necessarily use it or think about it maybe as literally a digital innovation, right, that actually can grow their business. Does that make sense? All right. And so, all right, so you can go to the next. So now we think about access to the internet. So now we think about now the growth of e-commerce. So again, pull this number also for this country. $111 million of e-commerce is expected by 2025. It's almost just a year from now because we're almost at the end of 23 right now, right? And that number is probably growing. That may even be a low estimate. Because I saw that number, I was like, that may even be a low estimate, right? But when we think about the ability of e-commerce to grow, so how many of you, by raise of hands, are already selling your product or service through your website? Got one, got two, okay. So guess what? 3. There's 3. So this is an incredible opportunity when we think about e-commerce, right? How do you get your product online to be able to sell it to an audience? Because everybody, right? Because it's challenging if everybody had to come to you, right? To a market or maybe to your home or to wherever, they had to come to you to buy it. What if they live 100 miles away? What's the likelihood they're going to come to your location? Even if you have a physical store, if the only way they can get it is to come to your store and they live over 20 miles away, what's the likelihood they're going to come to your store to get it? It's pretty low, right? So if they can't get it through the internet, that's why the internet is important, right? For you being connected, plugged in, and using that platform, the likelihood of them buying from you is pretty low, which means that limits now, right, those who actually are potential customers. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So we can go to the next one. Now we're talking about social media. So we go from talk about the internet, right, the overall e-commerce market, now social media, where here it says the average social media has over 5.8 million active social media users. Again, that number may even be a little low. So think about social media users, right? But what if that number grows? So if there's 111 million people on the internet, and if only 5.8 million are using social media, that actually is a growth opportunity, right? So what if your business was to get more people using social media? So what's the gap? This is a math problem for somebody right now. I need you to help with some math. What's 111 minus 5.8? All right, what's 111 minus 6? Let's just make it even simpler. Who's going to tell me? 105. Okay, thank you. 105.2, right? So if you had a business, let's just say, if you had a business that the market was 105 million people, and you can use an e-commerce platform to reach those, you think that'd be a worthwhile market to go after? Absolutely. Right? So if 100 million people are using the internet, but only 5.8 million, again, that's if these numbers are accurate, only 5.8 million are using social media, that's an opportunity of 105 million people to get them to social media potentially to become a customer. Does that make sense? So even when you look at statistics, right, it's an opportunity to say, man, there's an opportunity there, and again, an opportunity to create a solution to a problem. That goes back to, again, the basic, as we think about, what a basic business is creating a solution, is solving a problem. Does that make sense? All right. We can go to, and then data analytics. And so data has really become not just data used to be a commodity. Now it's really become a premium, right? Really, those who have and know how to access data are really the kings, really, of business right now. Anybody heard of Google? Right? We think of Google as a search engine, right? Google really is a data acquisition company. Think about it. Every single search that you and I do on Google, Google is tracking that search, right? So think about all the billions of people in the world who use Google. So Google is tracking everything that everybody is searching on, right? And then they're turning that into data that other people then buy. Think about that. That's really what they do. They do a lot more than that, but that's a simplified version of what they do. How many people in the world? About 8 billion people, right? And probably almost 8 billion people. Okay, let's even take half of that. 4 billion people in the world search on Google. Google is tracking all those searches, and they're categorizing all those searches, and they turn around and sell to companies like you and me and others that say, what are people searching for? Google says, here's what they're searching for, but you got to pay me to know what people are searching for. So how many people are online searching for fashion products? How many people online are searching for baked goods? How many people online are searching for what software engineers, right, can produce? How many people online are searching for products, right, like lip balm? How many people in the world are searching for lip balm online, right? Google knows, right? Microsoft knows, right? All these big data companies know because they've captured it, and then they sell it back to businesses, some big businesses, even some small businesses. Guess who's another mass aggregator of data? Something that some of us like to use like all day, every day. You may be even using it right now where you're sitting here listening to me. You're on this platform right now. It starts with an F and ends with a K. Facebook. Facebook is another, we call it a social media platform. Facebook is a data aggregator. So every time you post pictures, every time you put your post of things that are happening, right? Every location that you go to that you say you've been, everything that you say you like, or you just click the little hand on there, right? Facebook is gathering all that data, categorizing it, packaging it, and then reselling it back to other businesses, right? Because anybody ever used a Facebook ad, created a Facebook ad before, right? So basically, a Facebook ad, for those who don't know, as a business, you can go into Facebook and say, because right now, if you just want to be an organic post, right? So we're talking about digital innovations, right? So this is I'm just kind of weaving it in here, right? So if you talk about a Facebook ad, and I'll say an organic post. If you just post something on Facebook, or really any platform, this goes for Facebook, goes for Instagram, goes for LinkedIn. Any of these platforms is pretty much the same. An organic post, so let's say you have 100 friends, right? Or even 1,000 friends. If you post organically and just post it, 9 times out of 10, only about 30 to 40% or maybe less of the people that you're friends with actually see your post organically. That means you just posted it, you're hoping that they see it. And in reality, only 30 to 40% and maybe even less actually will see your post. And typically, the only people that see your posts are people you interact with all the time. So if you have 100 friends, you interact with 20 all the time, and the other 80, they're just kind of people that you kind of met randomly and you just befriended them. If you post something on most of these platforms, I'm speaking generically, only the people you interact with the most, which is, let's say in this case, 20, actually saw your post. The other 80 never even knew you posted it. Right? That's how, in general, how most of the platforms work. How do you get the other 80 to see your post? You have to buy an ad or boost your post so that more people can see it. That's how Facebook and others make money. When you decide to boost your post, because you're saying, hey, I want more people, especially now if you're in business, not just if you're just a citizen, let's say, posting information to your family. Now we're talking about your business, right? Trying to get more customers. So if your goal is to get more customers, you're now going to have to pay to boost your post. Well, if you go into Facebook ad and say, I want to buy a Facebook ad, you get to get all these categories of people that you can post to. So let's say, all right, let's we're going to talk about fashion. Your name was Georgia, right? Georgia. Jofia. Sorry. Did I say it wrong? Jofia. Okay. Well, it sounded like Georgia. It just kind of made me think about Georgia. I came from Georgia. But anyway, Jofia. Yes. So who's your ideal customer? How would you describe the person, the ideal person that you think of that actually would buy your fashion? Women. Women with what was the second part? Party. Who want to go to parties? Okay. Like what is the age range that you think about? 18 to 35. Okay. So women who want to go to parties, 18 to 35. What's something else unique about them? They're energetic to go out and party. All right. So everybody heard that, right? So that's our ideal customer, right? The women, age 18 to 40, they like to party. They're very energetic. So what Facebook has done is read everybody who has an account on Facebook. They know who all the women, they know what their age is. Based on what they post, they know if they're energetic or like to go out or not. They know they like to party. Facebook has all this data because guess what? We gave it to them for free. Because we wanted to show our friends what we were doing. But then Facebook says, well, I'll keep showing your friends, but I'm going to kind of capture what you're doing over here. Because now Jofi is going to come along and buy a Facebook ad, and Jofi is going to go to the page where it says Facebook ad, and it has all these boxes of categories of people. So Jofi can check, okay, I want my ad to go to women age 18 to 45, so she gets to check that box. She gets to check the box of energetic women. Why? And how do they know they're energetic? Because on all these posts, they talk about all the things that they like to do, right? So now Facebook is now put them in that category of, let's say for this example of energetic women, right? Creative, right? And you could have given me a list of 15 different things. Facebook already has that categorized over here, so you can check all the boxes that you want to on your ad. So that way, when you boost your post, all the people, not just, remember we talked about the 80 that didn't see her post? Now, not just the 80 who didn't see her post, she can say target 8,000 people who fit this category. Or maybe it's 800,000 people who fit this category. And guess what? Facebook already has all that information. And all you have to do is go and click some boxes to select now who you want your post to go to. So now when your post goes up, it's not just to the 20 people that you typically interact with. It's to the, let's say, for example, 800,000 that just fit that category of 6 things that you just selected and said, Facebook, show my ad to these 800,000 people that actually are the ideal customer that I want to sell to. Did y'all know Facebook did that? Did y'all know Instagram does that? LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat. All of them really are data aggregation platforms that use social media for us to interact and give them information, but then they take that information, they package it, and then other businesses are able to access that data in order to target their customers. All right, did y'all? But what's great, I guess what's great about that, or in a way, is you actually get access. You can actually, as a business owner, even as a small business owner, a solo entrepreneur, as a growing business, you actually get access to that data. And guess what? You don't have to buy all that data. You don't have to buy all that. All you have to do is buy an ad, pay for the ad, and you can even tell Facebook your budget. So your budget can be, I'm going to spend, let's just say, I want to spend $1 per day over the next 30 days. So you tell Facebook what your budget is. Now, again, $1 per day is not going to get you as much exposure as $2 per day or $10 per day, but still $1 a day is still can still be pretty good if that's where you're starting. And let's say your business grows, and now you can say, okay, I got more revenue, so now in month 3, I'm going to do $2 per day. Business keeps growing, so now month 10, I'm going to do $5 per day. Business keeps growing, right? And that's how that cycle continues to grow. So when we talk about, I spent a long time talking about data analytics, but that's why it's that important for you to understand that you can use other people's data, right? Because Google has a very similar process where you can buy Google ads. Twitter, now X, has a very similar process where you can buy X ads, or Twitter, formerly known as X ads. LinkedIn has a similar process. You can buy LinkedIn ads. Instagram has a very similar process. You can buy Instagram ads. So when we think about data analytics, you may not understand all the mechanics behind getting data, or you may not even know how to gather data, but you can go to other sources that already have data. Does that make sense? But also, as your business grows, you want to become very sophisticated too at gathering data, right? You know, another type of platform that is very low tech, that actually gets people to give them their data. Anybody ever gone to the mall before? Anybody ever been to a mall store? Anybody ever been in a place where you see the car sitting out front, it looks really nice, and they say, just fill out this information, and for your chance to win this free car. And people fill out the little survey. Guess what the survey is doing? Gathering data. Because everybody thinks they're going to get a chance to win this car. Now, some people may get it, but it's going to be one person out of 10,000 people who actually filled out that little survey. But that data company just got 10,000 inputs of data, right? So that's how important data is. But also for you, you want to be thinking about too, what do you know about your customer? And here, I want you to think about it like this. Are you an expert of what your customer likes? You need to become an expert of what your customer likes, right? Because that's how you really connect with them in a way, again, where they want to buy what you have to sell. And again, that goes across all boundaries, no matter what industry, it's a product or service. How do you become an expert in what your customer likes, or even what they love? Does that make sense? Right. So we talk about, again, the impact of data analytics. Again, companies also that use data to make decisions 5 times more, like they move 5 times faster, is basically what that's saying. Their systems, their processes, their infrastructure moves 5 times faster than companies that don't use data. Okay? All right. And again, this is an example. Again, a Uganda agricultural startup increased their crop yields by 20% by analyzing weather data and optimizing planting schedules. They optimized their output by 20% because they able to use, right, they analyzed the weather to see when it was rainy season, when it wasn't, when was the best time to plant, and when it wasn't, right? And then that with the weather data and optimizing their planting schedules, right, they're able to increase their data. So think about, again, your business, right, how data might play a role in that. So I'm going to take a pause for a second, because I know I spent a lot of time talking about data. So I want to hear back from you in terms of business that you're in. What is one way that you think you might be able to use data to help grow your business or learn more about your customer? Sure. Just maybe one thought that idea that you've had. Yes. Very good. So she said if she could use data to educate her customers about her product, they could be more likely to buy her product. Does that make sense? Anybody else? How you might be able to use data more effectively in your business, or just an idea how it might work in your business? Go ahead. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So if you don't have any people in your target area, you also, if you know enough about them, you may say, all right, this is the perfect area for me to be in. Or you may say, there's not enough people in this target area. Now I need to find additional areas, right, that I can target who look just like the customers here, but there's the same type of people one town over, or one village over, or one country over, right, from that standpoint. Absolutely. No. Very good. Very good. All right. One more. Yes. Helps in decision making. In what way? Absolutely. Yeah, very good. So she said it allows you to in your decision making, and so even in your budgeting, to know, right, depending on how many you're making for, right, what's the appropriate calculations, right, that you need to utilize. That way you're not wasting. Also, make sure you're getting enough, right, from that standpoint, especially if you're making or building something. Very good examples. Good examples. All right. So these are two. I found two examples. Anybody heard of this company? Yep. Are they pretty good at what they do? Yep, absolutely. So is it Jumia? Make sure I'm Jumia. Yeah, okay. Right. So it's an e-commerce platform, and sells groceries and electronics and appliances and pharmaceuticals. Look like they sell a little bit of everything, right? Sounds like to me. So in America, I don't know if you all use Amazon.com. Anybody heard of Amazon? Does Amazon deliver here? Right. So sounds like it's similar. Seems like to Amazon. Which one is better? Which one do you all know? Yeah. Well, which one do you all think is better? I'm not saying this. Which one do you all think is better? Jumia. Ah. Interesting. So why would you say it's better? Why do you say it's better? What's been your experience? Yes. Makes deliveries easy. Okay. Okay. So it makes deliveries easier to reach people in every location around Uganda. Absolutely. You think it might be because they know Uganda very well and very strategic? Okay. Gotcha. Good. Any other reason why you think they're better or more effective than Amazon? Yes. Okay. She said Amazon can't deliver or won't deliver everywhere in Uganda where Jumia, right, can, and get in and maybe either hard to get to places or again places Amazon may not want to. And Amazon's might not for them be cost effective. It might not be profitable. Where again they've figured out a way to do it profitably where it makes sense, right? From that standpoint. And so again, and we're talking about e-commerce, right? So it kind of goes back to the numbers we talked about earlier. They have looks like it's a mobile app. I didn't download it, but I see that you can have anybody have their mobile app in here if you're willing to admit it on your phone. How many of you have their app on your phone? Anybody? If you folks, yeah, absolutely. So they made it easy for you to do business with them, right? So we think about also digital innovations. How do you make it easy for your customers to do business with you, right? Because if you're hard, you could have the best product in the world, but if you're hard to access and hard to do business with, right, people won't do business with you. They'll find an alternative that may be even a little bit less quality. It may even be a little bit more expensive, right? But if they're easier to do business with, sometimes just the headache and not dealing with the hassle of someone who's hard to do business with versus someone who's easy to do business with, right, actually can win that customer over. So when you think about also digital innovations, how do you make it easy for your customer to do business with you? How do you make yourself easy to find on the internet, right? How do you make yourself easy to engage with? So that's one of the reasons why companies do mobile apps, right? Because how much time people spend on their phone, right? And not even if sitting in front of a computer, but on their phone, right? So if you're on your phone, you might as well, these companies say, well, let's give them an easy way to interact with me on the phone. So let's create this mobile app so they don't even have to go to the computer, right, from that standpoint. Does it make sense? Absolutely. Anybody heard of this company? All right. So somebody tell me how they're different or what new innovation they brought to the marketplace, right? Because don't make fun if I said bada. Yes? Did I say it right? Sort of. How long has motorcycles been around in Uganda? Like forever, right? Like forever, right? Exactly. But this company took, I call it an old industry and did something new. So what new? What can tell me what they did? What did they do that was different or new with an old industry? Oh, yes. They embrace technology in what way? Got it. Right. Gotcha. So it's cheap, it's convenient, it's accessible, it's in your hand, right, through a mobile app. Is it safe? Why? How did they make it safer? What did they do? They track your location. So as you travel, you track location, see where you are. Can you tell somebody else where you are, where you're coming? Absolutely. So what else? What's one more thing that they've done with this industry? Yes, sir. Right. Absolutely. Definitely. So it can track the driver if you have an incident, right? It can track that incident and follow up on it, right? So think about that. An industry that you all said has been around forever, but this company came and said, "How can I innovate in this old industry?" And here's the thing that they did to innovate, and you can think about this for your business. They thought about probably what customers were complaining about: safety, right? Lack of convenience, and I don't know when they're going to show up. Are they lying about when they're going to show up? The cost, right? If I have an issue, if I had an accident, who's going to help take care of that accident or that issue, right? And we could probably go down a list of even the safety of driving. Like last time I was here, the time I've been here too, I was like, you got to be pretty brave to ride, right? But it's necessary, right? It's necessary, but it can be dangerous. Am I right? Yeah. So, but again, think of all those probably, I call them customer complaints that Safe Boda said I can do something about, and I'm going to use digital innovation to be able to do that, right? So think about your business, your industry. So it doesn't matter how old the industry is. It also doesn't matter how many other products may be out there. It doesn't matter how many other competitors may already have a solution, right? So when you think about your solution, you just got to be better. And so better can look like cheaper, but it doesn't always have to be cheaper. Better can be more efficient. Better can be more, I'm just going to use technology to be able to execute. Or I'm just going to deal with customer concerns. I'm going to have a way for customers, in this case, to feel safer, right, about the experience. So as you think about, again, your business, think about what customers complain about. Think about this. Think about what you complain about. When you go to a store, or when you buy a product, or when you purchase a service, what are the things that you complain about, and more than likely other people complaining about the same thing? So if a lot of people, or if you sit around with family and friends and you are complaining about a certain thing, like in the back of your mind, start tracking those things. And if you can be the one that solves that, and sometimes it's digital innovations, that can help you solve those problems, you could become a market leader because now you're listening to your customer. And in that case, you may not even need a ton of data analytics. Like, it's great to have all that data, but sometimes the best data is the conversation. Sometimes the best data is a group conversation, or what some would call a focus group, right? Where you get a group of people together, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 people, and you ask them, what do you hate about this industry, right? Whatever that is. What do you hate about this product or service? What do you hate about this resource? Here's the other side. What do you love about this? What do you wish they could do better, right? So as you think about your product and your service, just start asking people questions. Because sometimes their complaints can help become your solution. And then if you could put a digital solution around it, right, or digital innovation around it, right, again, you could become the market leader because now you're addressing what people care about. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Good. So we'll go to the next one. All right. We talk about strategies for sustainable entrepreneurship. So again, these are actually the 4 things I talked about earlier. So when you think of, again, your business model, no matter what area that you're in, right, product, service, big industry, small industry, emerging industry, is you gotta do all of this, right? So you gotta have a solution, you gotta have customers, and then what we haven't talked about much is what's your delivery system, right? So we just talked about Jumia. They established a delivery system that was better than Amazon. So in this case, right, they're going to deliver it to you wherever you are in Uganda, where Amazon said, I'm only going to deliver maybe to 80%, right, of where people are. But so your delivery system actually may be a store. So you have a physical store, so people are coming to you. That could be a delivery system, right? Or you're a technology company, and let's say you're delivering a solution on your website. So your website becomes your delivery system, right? So whatever your delivery system is, again, you got to make sure that it's effective. You got to make sure, let's go back to it's accessible, right? You got to make sure that you're easy to do business with. You got to make sure that your customers enjoy the experience, right? All that's part of your delivery system from that standpoint. And then, again, it becomes sustainable. After you do that 1 time or 10 times or 100 times, guess what every business has to do? 1 or 2 things. You either got to find more customers, or you have to make more money with the customers that you already have, right? So you have to either find more customers or have repeat customers. Does that make sense? Can somebody give me an example? Give me an example in your business. Is your focus on more customers or repeat customers? Yes. You do what? On both. Absolutely. So she said usually repeat customers actually bring on more customers. So you say you're focusing on both. So what is your business? One more time. Coconut lip balm. So coconut lip balm, so her goal is to get more coconut lip balm customers, but also, how long does one lip balm usually last? Most people. How long? Okay. So 1 month at most. So at that next month, you want them coming back to you, right? Not going to somebody else, right? Absolutely. So you want that repeat customer then actually to be making 12 purchases per month. I mean per year, right? If they're on a repeat, right, or more, right? So again, you got to think about your product. How long does your product last for your customer? Does it last 1 month? Does it last 1 day? Does it last 1 minute? Right? Because if it's food, it may be 1 minute. Right? That's quick, right? Or however long it takes them to eat a meal, right? Does your product last? Is it a service that, let's say it's a class or a course, and it actually takes them 6 weeks to complete that course? Well, for most people, let's say if it's an educational class, like we do at the Russell Center or maybe at the Innovation Village, right? Somebody typically may not take a repeat course, that same course again over, right? So many of you, if you completed a course, do you want to take another one? Or repeat the same one, right? You want to get done with that one and move on to the next one, right? So if you're an educational platform, think about this. So if you're an educational platform that offers online classes, your repeat customers means that you probably have to create another different type of class, right? So you have to keep creating classes. Otherwise, somebody bought one class and there's nothing else that they can do, right, with you unless you create more content. Does that make sense? Right. But that's a great way, though, to develop new customers, right? So you get that one customer, because as a young lady just said, right, she has somebody who buys a lip balm that then encourages somebody else to buy a lip balm. So one of the best things you can do, even with your delivery system or of also creating more customers, repeat customers, is have a referral program. Anybody have a referral program with your business? So a referral program basically says you reward people for referring another customer to you, right? So you may give them a discount, like a discount coupon. Like, so if I'm your customer and I go find 5 customers, right? Now you're going to give me a discount the next time I come purchase something because I just brought 5 customers to you. And guess what? Now you just help that person. Like if you're the business owner, that actually just help reduce your marketing costs because you just found five people that you didn't have to go get by yourself. You have one current customer, go find you 5 other customers, right? So referral programs are often great ways to actually expand your marketing beyond just yourself, right, or what you have to do. But it's also a great way to find additional customers, right, from people who love what you do, right, or love the product or service that you sell, okay? So again, any business model, right, either you have to get more customers or, right, you have to get repeat customers. Again, no matter who you are, but it becomes a cycle because now the more customers you have, the more you get to learn about those customers. The more you get to refine your solution that then takes you back around to getting more customers. Here's something else that you need to learn about your customers. Do they like the process of buying from you? So you should be doing surveys, right? So some of these kind of things we talk about digital innovations, but in some cases they actually may be simple things, but you can use digital solutions to do it. Simple survey. So if you have a survey on your website or a survey in your store, ask people how they like the experience that they had with you. What do they like about it? What do they not like about it? Now you have more data or information that you can actually then make your solution better to then get more customers and impact your delivery system to get that to those customers. So you can just, I was about to say don't, but one thing you like when you sell to somebody, it's great to make that first sale. It's even better to get not only the sale, but additional information from that customer that helps you be a better business owner, that helps your product or service improve, right? That helps you refine, right, how you even deliver. Because again, they could love your product, but they may hate your website. So ask them about, what do you think about my website, right? Or just go look at a bunch of other people's websites who you know that they enjoy that experience and try to replicate the experience, right? Doesn't mean you have to maybe spend as much money as they spend on their website, but what are some ways you can actually replicate the experience of being on somebody else's website or being in somebody else's store, right? So let's say you go to somebody's store and you had a wonderful experience. What was it about the experience that made you feel great about it? And then what can you learn and then take and put back in your own business to make your experience better, right? A lot of times people think just about the solution that's being developed. They don't always think about the delivery process or the system or the customer experience actually of buying that product. Here's another thing, and this is in America. Gets a lot of companies not only in trouble, but gets a lot of companies canceled, is customer service. So after you buy something, how are you treated after you buy something? Some companies is like after you buy it, they're glad you bought it, and then they're kind of on to the next thing. And you're old news now because they already got your money. So if you are coming back to them, they don't treat you very well because they're not thinking about you could actually become a repeat customer. All they're thinking about is, I got this last sale, and I'm just now focused on the next sale. So as you think about your business, how do you treat people? How do you treat your customers, right? How do you engage with them? How do you make them feel? We talk about this in the United States. It's called customer experience. But how do you delight your customer, right? And how do you bring them in a way where they walk away from you in business, not only loving your product, but they start to tell other people about how great of an experience it was doing business with you, right? So when we think about the entire process of your business, this is, again, we think about building a sustainable business model. It's not just having a great product or service, but also about how you're engaging and dealing, treating your customers as they're buying from you, but also as you're supporting them after they've already bought from you. All right, and so we're getting close to the end. All right, so we can go. And again, just a couple things we've actually already talked about in terms of market research. Which was the data analytics we talked about earlier. So the more information that you have about your customers or potential customers, again, you can be more targeted and specific. Pricing for your target market. This is a critical one for a lot of businesses. A lot of business owners, especially when they're new, they assume that they always have to be the lowest price in the market, and that's not always true. If you have a premium product, you should actually charge a premium price for it. Now, don't charge a premium price for an inferior product. A lot of people try to do this. I'm just making a lot of money, just raising my prices high, and your product is like worth nothing, right? So you want to make sure that if your product is high quality, right, because there's a cost to making it high quality, that your pricing, right, adjusts to make sure that you're premium. Because again, what's a very expensive store here in Uganda that you can think of? That it costs a lot of money to buy products from that store. Yes. Select a garment? Okay, select garment. All right, now what's a low-cost store that has very cheap stuff or inexpensive stuff? A local market, all right? So you have a local market on one side, select garment on the other, right? So when you think about that, is select garment going to charge the same price as a local market? No. Here's the thing: could they potentially sell more garments if they charge a lower price? Could select garments sell more if they charge a lower price? You said no. Why not? She said if she goes to select garment and she finds something that's really low price, she would doubt its quality, because what? From a select garment, what it sounds like, you're expecting high quality and a high price that matches the high quality, right? So for your own product, again, you can actually target a premium market, but you got to just know who you're selling to, know their tendencies, know their habits, know their desires, right? And you can actually sell to that market, right? But if you say you have a premium product, but you're charging local market prices, people are suspect. Like, they don't trust it, right? Because they're expecting one thing and you're giving them something different, okay? So, again, pricing. And, again, if you're going to be the low price, anybody heard of Walmart in the United States? So Walmart is a really big store, but they say they're the low-cost leader, right? So huge store. But what Walmart has done, right, is they've done an efficient job of keeping their prices low, because again they buy in such huge volume, and their goal is to be the low cost leader, right? But they're not gonna. They say they have quality, but they're not gonna promote themselves as the highest quality, right? They promote themselves as the low cost leader. So typically, you're gonna go in Walmart and find the lowest price for all types of items, right? From that standpoint. Now, if Walmart started charging really expensive prices for its products, everybody like, well, why? When I go to Walmart, I'm expecting a low price. I'm not expecting a high price. And then if I see a high price item there, now I'm questioning that. I'm like, why is Walmart selling this product that they don't typically sell at a high price, right? And then I don't trust that either. I'm used to getting low prices from Walmart, right? So for your product or service, whatever you establish as your brand and as your target market, you got to know who you're selling to, just to make sure that your pricing, right, is in line with that. And then again, that goes with profitability, right? If you do low cost, that's why Walmart has done a great job of being low cost. because they can be profitable at a low cost because they have the systems and the infrastructure to be able to do that. Other companies can't price their price as low as Walmart because they're not as efficient running their business as Walmart. So if they try to compete with Walmart on price, they will go out of business because they haven't been able to get their costs low enough to have a profitable product at the same level like as Walmart, right? From that standpoint. And then we talk about, again, capacity and volume. And then, again, being able to repeat that process over and over and over. Again, that's when we think about a successful business model, is being able to do these things with efficiency, effectiveness, and actually get better, right, as you go through that cycle. All right. So we'll touch a little bit here on funding and resources as we begin to wrap up. So, again, this was a survey from the World Bank. 44% of businesses in Uganda identify access to finance as the most significant obstacle to their growth. Would you say that's accurate? Those businesses? Some of you probably say, is that closer to maybe 100%? For many people, right? And again, actually in the United States, this number is probably the same or even higher for African American businesses. We still face a lot of challenges getting money from banks. Also, venture capitalists. African Americans collectively get less than 1% of venture capital dollars in the United States. Less than 1%, right? So there's a lot of challenges that we face that's why I said the organization I work for, we're trying to fight these things on behalf of black entrepreneurs. But we face a lot of the same financing challenges. So we have to get very creative, right, when it comes to raising money and raising capital for our businesses. Okay. So a couple of different categories that we can look at in terms of raising money and raising capital. First, we start with just people, and those people are yourself, right? And so many people, one of the best ways to raise that capital is to have a job, right? And that job and to save a little bit of money, even if it's a little bit of money over time. And it may be what we call a self-financed business, right? Or self-funded business, right? From your own savings, right? And then family and friends, as well as then, again, the people around you, people who know you best, people hopefully who trust you, build trust with, right? So your family and friends is a resource. And then customers, of course, right? So the more customers you get, hopefully, again, you're not spending all your profits on yourself or on your next vacation, right? Sometimes you have to sacrifice with revenues that come from customers and put that back into the business to help fund your growth. Other programs, of course, grants, right? Different organizations can offer grants that you may apply for. Sometimes different government agencies. In the United States, it's sometimes government agencies, sometimes other nonprofits or NGOs that offer grants that you have to typically put a proposal in or apply for. And there's some money for that. And then crowdfunding. You all familiar with crowdfunding? I know what crowdfunding is. So crowdfunding is an online tool where you can actually request money from strangers, right? It kind of uses social media, but basically there are platforms where you can go onto that platform. So one is called like Indiegogo. If you ever heard of Indiegogo, if you heard of GoFundMe, the GoFundMe is actually another one of those platforms. There may be a few other, maybe more local here. I'm in Uganda. So basically, you can put your business online, right, and basically build a profile, and then put a little bit of a marketing campaign on that profile page, and get people to donate money to your business, right? And so it's an opportunity, and really what it is people who really like your idea, and again, they don't get anything out of it other than what some platforms will call a perk, right? So in some cases, right, you may give them something for their donation, and like so one company, they may give away one of their T-shirts, right? So they may have a really cool product or service. They give away, so for a $10 donation, right, we'll give away a T-shirt, right? And then those perks may increase depending on how the amount of donations or the level of donations that come in. So some companies will use crowdfunding to actually raise capital. Of course, with banks and other lenders, which is, again, be very challenging, let's say even in the United States, to go to a bank as a brand new business, or especially if you're less than 2 years old, in some cases less than 3 years old, to actually get funding from a bank. Now, there are some banks that are smaller banks that in the United States called CDFIs, they're community development financial institutions that actually do fund early stage businesses. But again, you just have to meet certain criteria from that standpoint. And of course, venture capital and angel investors. A lot of people, if you hear or watch shows like Shark Tank, like it may seem like a lot of people get venture capital, but really very few businesses actually get venture capital from that standpoint. Because businesses typically get venture capital are in the technology space, but there's also businesses where, as a venture capitalist, they want to see that business be able to grow 10 times as big as it is right now, right? And so most businesses really don't have that type of growth factor. Because what that venture capitalist is basically saying is, when they give you money, if I give you, let's say, $100 or $1,000 or $10,000, I actually own a portion of your company. That's really what being a venture capitalist means, or getting venture capital. You're actually selling a percentage of ownership of your business. So for some people, they don't want to do that because it's not worth giving up control in some cases of their business. In other cases, somebody may say it actually is worth it for me to do that, depending on what that percentage is. And then angel investors typically have a lower bar in terms of what they're requiring. They're not as aggressive as venture capitalists are. But oftentimes the amount that they're giving is lower. But again, they're what they're asking for back in return from the business owner is not as intense either. All right. So this is my last slide. Again, just to really recap what I started with. When we talk about, again, you're a company that has a solution. You have to have a system, right, in terms of how you process, how you support your infrastructure, your technology, to then sell that solution to your customers. And, of course, the sourcing is a part of that, too. How are you sourcing your information, your raw materials, in order to create a product or a service or a resource that can be utilized by your customer. So as we talked about a few of these through the presentation, but your cell phone, right, is one of the most effective tools that you can utilize. The mobile apps that are on there to create efficiency in your business, to sell and market to your customers, to use social media from that standpoint. Even scheduling. So that second one there is scheduling. So those of you who are very busy, Calendly, and there's other platforms like it. Actually is a platform where you can set up your schedule online, and again, you can use this to set appointments. So people can go to that link that you give them and see what your availability is during the week, right? Especially, let's say, if you're a consulting business, or you have a professional services business, or you are, let's say, working in a hair salon, or you're a barber, you can actually they can go online and schedule with you online. So now they can see what slots are available, but you can also limit, right, the access that they have to your calendar, again, but it gives an easy way for people to interact with you without you having to maybe send emails back and forth, phone calls back and forth. You all trying to organize your schedule. You can use an online tool like Calendly to help you do that. From project management, or again, if you have a complex system, or just a system that has several steps in your process, right, to have a tool that manages every step in the process, that manages how you get customers, that manages your marketing process, that manages your manufacturing process, right, that manages your accounting process. You think about all those systems that I talked about, you probably need a system or a tool or platform that can help you manage all those steps. So Monday.com is just one example of being able to do that. Customer relationship management, which Monday.com actually has a platform, but there's several others that from a customer relationship management. So as you gain customers, they should go into some type of database, even if it's a spreadsheet, right? Excel spreadsheet, some other tool like that. But the more you get customers, you want to be able to track those customers over time. You want to be able to track the information that you can get from those customers. You want to be able to have their phone number, their website, their email, so then you can actually email them, right, and keep them informed of new products and services that you have coming online. So from a marketing standpoint, from how you manage your relationship with them, right, a customer relationship manager or a CRM, right, is a platform that can be effective for that. Again, because again, remember what I said about you want to become the expert of your customer, right? So in order to become an expert of your customer, you actually have to gather data, right? And so you don't have to have as big as a data machine like a Google or a Facebook, but again, even things like the surveys that you do, sending them emails and things like that. And there's some great tools. Actually, you can jump down to No, you said on the list. MailChimp and Constant Contact are like customer relationship management tools, but also email management tools. So again, you can email your customers and not just do it from your personal email box, but do it from a system that can be a little bit more automated. So you can, again, if you have a website, they can go to your and sign up for your newsletter, and you don't have to manually send it to them. You can set it up to where as soon as they sign up for it, it automatically sends it. So you can be asleep at night, right? They're going to your website, they sign up for your email, and then not just one, you can actually set up to maybe it's 3 or 4 emails, and maybe it delivers it every 3 or 4 days, right? So all these automation tools is really, when you think about your system, you want to think about how do I automate something such that I don't have to manually do every step. But what technologies are out there that actually can help me, right, create more efficiency and automation in my process. ChatGPT. How many of you know what ChatGPT is? Has used ChatGPT? I hope you haven't used it to write a paper. Don't raise your hand for that. But who's used it for your business and efficiency for your business? Yes. You have an example? You know it? Okay. You want to give us an example and maybe even explain what ChatGPT is? And no, not. I'm sorry. Pink shirt. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Look it up. Proofreading your reports, paraphrasing. Yep, absolutely. Can speed up that process for sure. So ChatGPT, see if I can explain this in the simplest way, is what they call a machine learning tool. So it has learned language patterns, research patterns, data gathering patterns, really from all over the world, all over the internet, and it's kind of brought it in place to where it makes it a very simple tool for you and I to use by basically typing in a few very simple basic commands, right? So for example, you can go into ChatGPT and type in, write a marketing campaign over using Facebook over 5 days and tell me what to post each day. You can literally type that into ChatGPT, and it will give you exactly what you asked for. Which is a little scary, right? But it can be very effective from that standpoint. So when we think about speeding things up, so let's say you're not really good at marketing. That's not your skill set. So now something like ChatGPT can help you become more efficient in something you're not as efficient at. And the gentleman said he uses it to paraphrase. So again, if you are a writer, right, or you write, let's say, movie scripts or TV scripts, or you write plays, that's your business, right? You can use ChatGPT to help you paraphrase that, or to help you give you ideas. So you can say, write a scene, and you can describe the scene that you want for your play, and it literally will give you that scene, depending on how much detail you tell it. And this is not coding where you have to write technical language. No, this is just plain language, where you literally are just like you're having a conversation with somebody. That's literally how you're typing it, right? And literally it will give you what you asked for. Now, the quality of it may not be always great, but sometimes it's just a great starting point, because then you'll take what it has. Oh, that's a great idea. Let me go back and now refine it. Now I'll go back and paraphrase it myself, or I'll go back and take that idea and build off of it from that standpoint. But ChatGPT is a great tool. A lot of universities, though, and I'll just say this, are absolutely opposed to it, because some people will use it to cheat, right, in terms of writing a research paper, right? Because you literally could write a research paper using this tool. That's how powerful it is. So please do not do that. Right? Please don't do that. But in business, right, you can actually use it in some cases just to generate ideas. In other cases, right, you can use it to actually, again, build campaigns of marketing, right? Or even you could say, teach me how to basically talk about accounting system. So if you're not good at finances, you can literally say, write a 10-step accounting process to help me manage my finances better. And it literally will write you a process out, right, to help you manage your finances. Or tell me how to write a budget for my business, right? And literally it will type out a budget or tell you how to actually create a budget. So So it's a great, powerful tool that can be utilized from that standpoint. That literally could be an all-day workshop on how to use ChatGPT and some of these other tools that use. Basically, if you heard of AI, right? Artificial intelligence is a type of artificial intelligence tool, but again, it puts it at the fingertips of just everyday people who you don't need to know how to code. You don't need to be a technology type person at all. Literally, you can give it some basic instructions, and they can kind of give you some pretty robust outputs that you kind of have to go back and clean up a little bit, but it can be very, very powerful. Last thing I'll say here is Shopify, but social media platforms. Again, a lot of people use social media for fun, which it absolutely can be, but social media is also a very, very powerful business tool for finding customers, connecting with customers, selling to customers, data, marketing to customers I talked about earlier with the ads and things that you can use, but also marketing to those customers, interacting with those customers. So social media, depending on which platform you're on, again, it could be very powerful in terms of how you engage and market and engage and connect with your customers. All right. So that's it. I gave y'all a lot. Anybody? Hopefully you didn't feel like you got hit with a fire hose and just as I was just kind of hitting you with all that information. Was this helpful? Absolutely. Any questions? Any questions I can answer? So I explained everything perfectly? All right, great. No. Yes. Okay.
Right. The first one is, are there opportunities for Black Ugandans at that Center for Entrepreneurs that we can tap into? Because I had it's Black Americans and Atlanta, which is good. So how about Black Ugandans? Then another question is, you deal in digital marketing and digital landscape and all that. Are there safe, free websites and app softwares that we can use for our different businesses? Because buying them from the people that develop them are quite expensive. So if there could be another way that we can go about it, that would be good. And the third question, I'll ask it later. Thank you.
Yes. So so the first question is it possible to engage with the Russell Center online? So we're actually working on developing our digital platform. It's actually called Digital Rice that will have some e-learning content and some other resources that will allow people outside of our center to get access to it. And so hopefully that'll come online next year. We already use it internally with our entrepreneurs as an educational tool and help them kind of track their progress and growth as a business. And again, we're looking to be able to expand that outside of just the group that we serve currently. So hopefully keep an eye out for 2024, and we'll see. And also, we're building a relationship with Innovation Village. So that was one of the ways that I was able to come back this year, because when I came and had a chance to meet with the leadership of the Innovation Village when I was here the first time, I stayed in contact with them. They stayed in contact with me. So they help the process of getting me back here. So I'm helping to build hopefully some connections between Rice and the Innovation Village too, that we'll be able to collaborate and work together. So keep an eye out for 2024. We're kind of working on some things hopefully that will be able to come online next year. Yeah. And then the second question, and I'll get you next. Is you asked about some free tools, some low cost tools. So a couple of platforms, and I guess you had to see if they actually would are available here in Uganda. I know so Weebly, Weebly is a platform for creating a website. Another one is sorry about that is Wix, Wix. I think Wix.com is another one. Google also, I think it's Google Sites. I think they may have a platform that's either free or low cost. GoDaddy is another one. Again, you have to just check and see if they actually serve here in Uganda. But those are some platforms that, and many of them have, it's either free or low cost to get in. And then as you maybe grow over time, the tools and resources in their packages in terms of the services that they provide will then grow depending on how much you would pay on a monthly basis from that standpoint. But I would also Google or search online, like for free or low cost websites, be another way. Just kind of see which platforms. And I would, even if it's 3 or 4, I would compare those sites. And then also, whatever research you find, I'm going to put Innovation Village on the spot here, and say that whatever you find, that they can come to you and talk to them, and ask them if you're not already plugged in to what's happening here. That I'm sure they'd be a great resource also locally to help kind of navigate through some of those platform opportunities. Right, Sincor? Yep. In terms of being a local resource. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. I think my objective has been achieved of meeting you, of heard from you. It's been good. I have about 3. Number 1, I want to understand what the difference between venture capital and equity investment. Number 2, I recently posted a tweet on my Twitter, and it says, with the innovation of digital banking systems like internet, mobile banking, EFT, a lot of Ugandans still suffer in fees to do simple transactions like cash deposit. What do you think is a problem? Then lastly, you gave us a statistic about 4% of startups fail. Here in Uganda it's worse. 90% of startups collapse in their first time. So at High Innovator Initiative, we are trying to work with you and to see how to use this. So for us, we are doing capacity building. We have academy. She's one of my beneficiaries. I supported her, and we've given her some funds to run the business. But it's still a problem.
See if I can remember all of them. You say the difference between venture capital and angel investment? Okay. And liquidity. Oh, equity investment. So it's pretty much the same for the most part. There may be a little difference, because if you're a venture capitalist, you're that is exactly what you're looking for, is equity investment, right? So if your business is worth so when, again, if you watch Shark Tank, that's literally what's happening. They're saying, I'll give you $100,000 for 25% equity investment of your company, or I'll give you, $10,000 for 10% equity investment of your company. So venture capital is equity investment, because what they're looking for is, in many cases, I want ownership now, right? And that's one way to say I want ownership now, but in 5 years, I want you to sell me back, right? You sell me back my share. You basically give me my money back. So if I gave you $100,000 today, in 5 years I want $1 million, right? But it's because I'm giving you $100,000 because I believe your business is going to grow a lot bigger than, right, $1 million, and that's just the percentage that I want back based on my deal, right? So there's different ways to structure, but most venture capitalists are looking for equity, right? Because again, for them, venture capitalists is an investment. They're making an investment, kind of like investing in a stock market. In this case, they're investing in a specific company, and then with them owning a specific percentage of that company, they want that investment to grow over time, and they believe that you will grow over time. That's why they're investing. So that's a particular point in time in the future, 3, 4, 5 years, and it's typically structured. It's very structured deal, very specific. At a particular point in time in the future, they're looking for you now to write them a check, give them some money, and for that money be a whole lot more than what you gave them, right? From that standpoint. Now, some may say, you know what, I don't want you to give me that money because you're going to keep growing, so I may want to keep growing with you, so I may not want my money back at that point in time, or maybe just a portion of it, right? Because I may want to stay with you for a lot longer. So, yeah. So when you think about venture capitalists, it's all, or 90% or most of it is about equity. They want ownership of a portion of your company in exchange for the money they give you, right? Your next question was about business failure and how do we do more to prevent that. That's a very complex answer. That may be the hardest answer I have to answer today, the hardest question I have to answer today. I think a lot of it is the answer is what we're doing right now. One is learning together, right, growing together, but also being willing to share also when we're struggling together, right? And I can't speak for you all, but I know, where I live and where I come from, sometimes we want to look successful and don't want to tell people when we're struggling, and don't want to let people know when we're actually having issues and challenges with what's going on. Because the thing is, I could probably guarantee that if there's somebody in this room with a problem, there's probably somebody else in this same room that either has experienced the same thing and could give you some wisdom, or they may have the answer to your problem, or they may know where to tell you to go get the solution from, right? But a lot of times, and we're ashamed of challenges, issues, and things that's going on, because again, if I'm an entrepreneur, I always need to look successful. Like, I always need to look like I'm the greatest, right? So for myself, I started a business and I failed in business, right? I was in business and my business literally crashed to the point that my house got repossessed because I couldn't pay my mortgage, right? And so in the United States, we call it mildly homeless. So we were living like in a hotel for multiple years as I was trying to get back on my feet after the business failed, right? But when I was going through it, there was very few people that I told because I was ashamed, right? I didn't want anybody to know, because here's the thing. I was still going out and teaching entrepreneurship, all right? I was still going out and teaching other people how to be successful, although my business wasn't successful. That's why you also got to be careful about who you listen to, right? Because some of these people online who make it look like they're really wealthy and really rich and all this stuff, and a lot of people on social media literally are not living like that. They just want you to think that, so you keep paying them money because they look successful, right? They want to make you think that. So you got to be very careful who you listen to, right? And who you take advice from, especially if people are telling you, oh, you can get rich quick, right? Just do these 3 things and you're going to be wealthy really fast, right? Most people who grew wealth over time, it took a long time to grow that wealth. Most people who built strong, sustainable businesses, it happened over time. It didn't happen overnight, right? You've heard the saying, joke. It took me 30 years to become an overnight success, right? It took a lot of challenges, right? It took 30 years of failure to become an overnight success. So a lot of people who you see their success, most of their success didn't happen immediately. Or even if they were successful in this current business, it's because the 5 businesses before it failed. But guess what? They kept going, they kept learning, and now in the current business, they made it successful. It's because of what they learned in the other 5 times they failed before that sometimes they don't tell you about, right, from that standpoint. So again, it's very, very seldom, right, that people are success overnight and immediate, and it takes building, almost like building a building, right? You would be nervous if somebody had built a house that they wanted you to live in and it only took them a week to build it, right? You'd be a little suspect, wouldn't you? Be like, because, right, did the cement even have time to dry, right, before you put the roof on top of it, right? Did the concrete, did the foundation have time to settle before you started building on top of it, right? So just because it's fast doesn't mean it's good, right? So sometimes if you want to build something that's long-term sustainable, you have to take your time and build it the right way. And sometimes it requires education in settings like this where it doesn't feel like, and I deal with this same kind of question back at the Russell Center, right? Because people want to be successful, or they see other people who've been successful and they think, wow, I could get to where they are immediately, and didn't know that person took 10 years to get to that point, right? Just because they drive a nice car, maybe have nice clothes, but not realizing what their journey was. And it's like, are you willing to repeat that same journey, right, to get to that same point, right? And so sometimes what I call this, something like this, working on your business. So we use the term in the States, and we say you have to spend just as much time working on your business as you do working in your business, right? What is that? What do you think that means? What do you think that means when you hear that? Working on your business versus working in your business. Anybody? All right, I'll answer for you. Right? When you think about getting education, like sitting here right now is working on your business. You're getting new ideas, you're getting new information, you're getting new insight. A unless some of you may be, unless you're literally online right now making a sale with a customer, with like some of you may be right now. If you are, that's fine. No problem with that, right? Or unless you're doing your accounting right now, unless you're hiring somebody right now, unless you're going out looking for materials, all that stuff is working in your business, which is absolutely required. But if you don't take time to work on your business, which is something like you're doing right now, or other classes that you may take with Innovation Village, or going through the AWE program, right? That's working on your business. When you think about your mindset, your business strategy, your business structure, that actually allows you to be better at working in your business. And to me, that actually contributes in some cases to the high level of failure. Some people get an idea and want to run out quickly and just get it implemented. Like, so I was the king of doing that, right? So I was, and again, it's great to have ideas, but sometimes you got to think it through, right? But I get an idea in the morning, I throw something up on my website in the afternoon, right? Because this was a great idea. And guess what? I'm brilliant because it's a great idea. Everybody's going to want to buy it, right? How many of you think the same way? You don't have to raise your hand, right? But you're all brilliant. But just because you're brilliant doesn't mean that every idea a customer wants to buy it from you, right? So sometimes you have to test it and then test it and then test it over and over again. It may take some time for customers to actually love it, where they actually want to buy it, right? So those are the kind of things sometimes is the patience while you're also developing and growing. A lot of it is the capital, kind of wrapping in your third question. A lot of it is the capital and the challenge of getting access to capital. And so in some ways it's having to advocate with organizations, whether it be lenders or whether it be other organizations that may provide grants, right? So one of the things that we do, and we just started doing this because, again, our organization is not set up to fund businesses either, right? We're a nonprofit. Our organization is primarily there to provide education, support, training, right? Not money. But what we've started doing with some of our partners, because MasterCard Foundation is the partner here for the Innovation Village, they're also one of our partners in the United States, MasterCard Center for Inclusive Growth, and they support the work that we do. And that was one of the ways that I connected initially with the Innovation Village, because we had a similar partner. So we work with our partners actually, so when they fund us, to also fund grants that we can give to businesses, right? They're not huge grants, but in some cases, some businesses don't need a huge grant to make a big difference in their business. So we're trying to think of creative ways to say, okay, yes, we have an organization that helps to fund us, and the funding that we get, we provide. I mean, we got to keep the lights on. We got to provide the building and staff that supports the businesses. But now we're trying to think of other ways that the funding we get, how can we funnel some of that right directly to the businesses or into resources? So one of the things that we do is we work with with law firms that provide pro bono legal support. So which basically means we work with a law firm that provides free legal assistance to our businesses in terms of them dealing with contracts. We have an accounting firm that provides free accounting support. So now that's a resource, right, that a business doesn't have to pay for. So although they're not getting cash, right, to their business, they're avoiding an expense, but also getting a service or a resource that's going to help their business. So there's other creative ways that we look at as we partner with different organizations to figure out with our partners. And you saw that big list of partners I showed earlier, with all those logos on it. So that's how we work with different partners in different ways, right, to support our businesses from that standpoint. Did I answer your question? Okay, good. All right. Any other questions, comments, or thoughts? All right, I used to do this in one of my classes. Tempted to do it right now. I think I should. I used to go around to at least everyone in the room. You had to tell me at least just one thing that you learned from today. All right? It's not too hard, right? Just one thing that you learned from today. Because hopefully somebody's gonna say something that somebody else didn't think of. Like, oh, I forgot about that. They're gonna write it down. This is where you actually get to teach each other. All right? So we good? Everybody, can we agree? Everybody, just one thing that you learned today? Not too hard, right? Right. I'll take some volunteers first. That way you can kind of get your idea together. Who wants to volunteer? Just one thing that you learned today. Yes.
I've learned more about social media marketing, the way you taught us about Facebook, how you can group those people and you find your target market easily. I didn't know that, and I've learned it today.
About social media marketing, how to use like Facebook marketing to be able to target ads, and how to use social media more strategically to find and target customers. All right. Who else? Another volunteer.
Thank you so much. What stood out for me most is how the need for the entrepreneurs to take care of themselves. Because most times we are immersed into our businesses and we forget all about ourselves. And I liked the point where you say that in your innovation center, you go and do hiking. Is it hiking or picnic, stuff like that? And I loved it. Thank you so much.
Who's next? This is one thing that you learned today. Yes, sir.
Biggest thing I learned about today was the way you monetize yourself. It's about working on a mobile application, a web application that trains medical staff how to use it. But I was thinking of removing the service. But as I was thinking it, how about use our service to get data from people. Like if someone is using a machine and it gets the problem, so it tells you what your interpreter is not working right, this particular model is not good. So we sell that data to these people that supply machines, and also we have stock market to sell to these people. Can give it to them because we know what people want. So basically, Facebook has told us that when you're going to someone, you already know this. So as we use our web application, we know our users and what they want to make the market successful. So it's easy.
Are you all using a chat bot right now? All right. So think about this. I'm gonna just give you a little nugget. This is for everybody. This is especially for you all. And I'll come to who's next. Make sure I remember. All right. So I'm gonna go back there and I'll come back here after I give you this. So a chat bot. So basically, a chat bot is a digital conversation that is still using a little bit of AI, using a little bit of machine learning, but it's basically a question and answer response. So we all have experience. If you've been on a website and you had that little thing that pops up in the corner of the website and they ask you, hey, how are you today? What can I help you with? And you start typing and they start answering you back and forth. That's a chat bot. Well, those are becoming easier to make, right? And easier to get someone to make it for you. And because what it allows you to do is, based on your expertise, and this is for you, but anybody, you can think of all the, like, if you think about your product, what are the typical questions that somebody's going to ask you about your product, right? So you think about all the questions, and then basically you write out all the answers, right, in advance, right? So if you know the type of questions that they're going to ask about the technology that you're selling to them, right, and maybe 8 questions that you write out then all the answers. What the chat bot allows you to do then is put that into the system. So when they type a question that's similar to what you believe they're going to ask, it's then automatically going to give them the answer, right? And the more data that you gather, you can kind of refine that over time, right? Before, you used to have to need a computer science degree to do that kind of stuff, but now it's easier to kind of get a service that, again, you probably have to pay for, but it's a lot less expensive than it used to be. And people are creating whole online courses, right, and tools and services out of just these chat bots, right? And again, it can go across any industry. So let's say you start I'm going to go back to baking for a second. Let's say you start a website, and now you not only sell your product, but you're going to do an online course of teaching people how to bake, right? Or just answering their questions on how to bake the most amazing cake, right? And so you list all your questions, right, related to baking that product. And then you write, since you're the expert, right? So you write all the answers of what those answers possibly could be. And then now you're able to put that into a system, and now you can plug it into your website. And again, there's ways to do it, and you probably need to get somebody to help you, maybe a little tech savvy. But there's a lot more tools now. And again, this is happening while you're off, with the kids or on vacation, or maybe having to go to work, right? Because a lot of people, even where I serve and work with, they're still working a day-to-day job, while also still building their business. So imagine if you're at work, having to work, all day, but your website is still getting sales for you, right? And then your own business until the point where the website makes more money, let's say, than your job does, or your business makes more money than your job, and eventually you can switch over to that business, right? So when you said that, it made me think about the chat bot. But just Google chat bot, right? And this is for anybody, but definitely if you're in the technology space, that you can use a chat bot to actually make your job more efficient and also potentially generate sales for your business. I'm gonna come back here for one thing that you learned today.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I enjoyed most of the session of business model because I believe that's the backbone of the business. If the model is not to be thought about, then maybe most of us will be able to see ourselves. That's it.
Talk about the importance of a business model. How's the backbone of your business? Who is that?
Okay, thank you very much. I wanted to comment on the issue of AI. Like you gave us an example of the ChatGPT. Most people are saying, like I've seen ratings on Facebook, that the AI is becoming a threat to the human resource, as in it's taking up the employment that could be for the people. So, like when you say it, we should embrace it, we use it, aren't you risking our job? Then, then the other thing I want to talk about is the thing I learned. You told us that the complaint gives us the innovation, and that stuck in mind. Then the other thing was how these businesses are keeping our customers, like how these businesses are keeping us in by referring, like you refer one, I reward you, like you come back, I give you a praise. So I learned also that.
It's a tool, and it can be very threatening. Because let's be honest, it is going to take some people's jobs, right? It just is. That's just a reality. The goal is how do you learn it as a tool to benefit you, right? Versus seeing it as a threat. So the more you can learn about it, the more you can use it as a tool. If we just want to kind of hide our head in the sand and hope it goes away, it's not going to go away. It's going to become more prominent. So we have to figure out, and that's why, as we're teaching our entrepreneurs the same thing, how do we leverage it? So we actually have a whole project that we're developing with the university, our Georgia Tech University, and the University of Georgia, where we're building actually a mobile AI studio. So think about a huge truck or trailer that's actually outfitted with different types of AI technology, because we're going to go around and teach people how to use it, right? So in teaching people how to use it and also engage it in their manufacturing processes, our goal is to equip them with the tool to use it for their benefit versus becoming a victim of it, right? So, but it's gonna cause a major transition in the workplace for sure. And so we want to educate our people on it and equip our people on how to use it as a tool. But you're exactly right. I think we'll come back here. Yes.
Thank you so much. My take home has been about data analytics, how we can use it to serve our clients better. For example, I said I'm a tech content creator, so I always receive the statistics from this place, but I've really not been minding about them, and I believe all these other senior platforms used to give us statistics. It's upon us to go check them until we can implement them.
Definitely the data analytics, as she said. So Google, again, if you're has a free tool. So again, if you have a website, you can use a Google Analytics tool that plugs into your website. It gives you a whole lot of data about people who come to your website, right? Even information about how long they spend on your website. So if they come, only spend 5 seconds and they leave, right? And 90% of the people are doing that. You wonder why you're not getting sales. It could be that your website is not inviting enough, not engaging enough, right? But if you don't have analytics to tell you that, you wouldn't know that, right? from that standpoint. And so you need to be able to see data, understand data, and think about the tools that can help you just make better business decisions. All right, who's next? Yeah.
My take home has been the whole entrepreneur concept, where you don't have to give your whole self to the business and forget about yourself. And also having like fellow entrepreneurs that you're accountable to, the family concept that you talked about, where you can do all this stuff together and then you share the challenges, successes together.
Whole entrepreneur, but also being able to share your challenges and successes with one another. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. My home today is we can get ideas from our customers and from the people around us, from the challenges they are getting. Like us, we are into service provision. We offer obstetric and gynecological services. We have a maternity center. And most mothers, our clients, they complain of time management, like waiting in a queue for the doctor. From there, you can think of getting an idea of like an application, of getting appointments online. But the most challenge I've got, like some of us, we are not experts in those sectors. So we get that challenge, you move out from this place with your ideas. When you reach outside, you don't know any person you can contact. So it's important. You don't know how you can help them. Like getting experts in certain things, getting websites, applications. We move out with ideas, but we don't know where to start from.
Great question. So the last part of her question was about finding experts. Getting ideas and moving out on that, but not having experts to connect to. So one of the things, and I'm sure probably with Innovation Village, could be a definite resource from that standpoint in terms of being able to categorize the type of need you have. Right? Is it a financial request? Is it legal? Right? Is it human resources? Is it structural? Is it business strategy? And one of the things that we do at the Russell Center, I believe they do something similar here, and they could explain it better, is we go find the expert for our businesses and get them plugged into our process, because that's oftentimes becomes a big challenge for a business, right? Because you got into the business because of what you love to do, but maybe what you love to do is not the accounting part of your business, right? Maybe you love serving people, but you don't like having to do the marketing, right? And a lot of times you're required to do that early, right? As a business owner, starting a business by yourself, or even with a partner, and that's challenging. So it's really, really important to find other experts. But here's another idea around the experts. So definitely going to organizations, AWE probably, again, with that program, connecting you to experts. But also sometimes there's experts in the room. And I'll go back to that, right? Because they may be an expert in marketing, but they're not an expert in what you're in. And so sometimes those collaborations between businesses working together, right, can help businesses move forward. And this is a challenge, and I'll say, that we also see in the United States too, with blacks and African Americans sometimes not wanting to work together, right? Sometimes that trust isn't there. Sometimes the very resource that you need is the person that you say you don't trust, right? So for example, so in a positive way, I'll call it a positive example. So in our building is 54,000 square feet, right? We have a huge building, and with a lot of technology. And so we have three companies so one company is an AV company. They're called NX Systems. They're an AV company, so they install all of our TVs, all of the camera systems, all the lighting and all that, right? So they do that. There's another company, and the CEO, his name is Channing, right? He's a general contractor. He's a construction company. But they also help around in terms of dealing with maintenance in the building. So when something breaks in the building, somebody has to come fix it, right? Right? So you got to call. So for us, that's a company that works on that. And then another company, they do sustainability engineering, and they also do some general contracting. Well, those are three completely distinct separate companies, three separate owners, three separate really even business models. Well, when they came to Rice, again, they didn't know each other before they started working. So we ended up contracting with them separately for those three different things. So that not only they learn and grow from us in the community, we actually do business with them because we contract with them. But they realize that their businesses actually kind of sync together, right, in certain ways in terms of building construction, building maintenance, and then installation and maintenance of avian technology. So they got together and formed a joint venture of a third company, right? So they still do business independently, but now they have a facilities maintenance company that did not exist before they came together. And now they go look for business opportunities together, right, with that third company or fourth company now, really, because they still have their individual company. But when they go find opportunities that they can actually, with their joint venture, they can go get contracts, right? They go out and get contracts. So again, sometimes we have to learn to work with one another because, again, our skill sets, our knowledge, our backgrounds can complement one another. And sometimes, many of you had a career before you started your business, right? So sometimes what you're doing in this business may not be what you're doing in your career, but what you're doing in your previous career could benefit somebody else, right? And so that's why, again, the better we get to know each other, the better we build relationships and connections, get to trust each other. That also creates business opportunities, right, for us to be able to work together, right? And sometimes we can solve our problems together, where we don't always have to look to outside organizations. Because sometimes that's the default, where we look to outside organization for the solution automatically. Sometimes it's not outside, sometimes it's inside, right? And then if it's inside, you're working together. Now you also have a more of a stronger group that can then go outside and look for resources collectively. Because think about it. If one entrepreneur left here and went to an organization and said, or an institution said, I need a grant, right? They may be influential. Well, what if 100 of you got together, gathered even some data, gathered some information about yourself, gathered what's common, and the group of you went and said, we need grants that can help us in these three areas. That's a much more powerful argument maybe to an organization that now sees actually a bigger need, right, than they might see as just one individual or two individuals come in saying, I need help. But sometimes when a collective group comes together, organized strategically, and say, we need help, that can oftentimes influence action to happen. Does that make sense? All right, good. Who else wants to share something that you learned today? Yes, ma'am.
I've learned, like, when we as a company try to bring our products closer to our customer, making it easier for our customer, just right at their hand, they're able to buy from you, they're able to get their services easier, and they get more customers.
When it's easier for your customers to buy from you if you can bring the product closer to them, right, and make it more accessible, more available for them to purchase it. All right, anyone else? I guess I won't force everybody, but definitely if anybody else who wants to share.
Thank you very much. I'm John Baptist from MUST. What I learned the most was the way you brought quality in connection with price. And this is where I thought of big companies like Apple products. And they make sure their products are too much of quality. And then the price still is high, but still that doesn't take away their market. Actually, the market is increased regardless of that. And the other thing, I was a bit late, but I think I'll get to the slide. I think I'll get the slides about digital marketing. The last semester, I tried to begin digital marketing. I began with affiliate marketing. Affiliate digital post. It was too much of a work. I tried to get create revenue accounts such that I can get people which I can try to sell the product such that I can get was happy when I had talk about I had you talk about digital marketing, and I think I will learn more from this.
Automation, right? And how can you use those digital tools to more effectively automate your business? So if I just kind of looked at this side of the room over there, I think there's a lot of software and technology people in that whole row right over there that probably know a lot about what you need help with. I'm gonna just suspect like this whole row back right over there probably has a lot of information, right? And it's probably stuff that may be harder, more difficult for you. It's probably easy for them, right? So I'm gonna just put y'all on the spot. Just he may be coming to y'all for some help, right? So yes. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mine is just about your philosophy around service systems and so on. I like the fact that you can make an investment in any of those spaces. Just the innovations around the systems or even the selling. But since this session is open, have an innovation elsewhere in the course. But yeah.
Just to capture a little bit of that, right? You can look at an old industry and still create innovations in an old industry, right? And then breaking down your business into sourcing, selling systems, right, and solutions. I'll take one more. Take one. Oh, two more. Oh, you raised your hand. Wonderful.
Okay, thank you very much. Me, what I've gotten from here is the steps a big idea can go through to become a workable idea. That is inspire, develop, execute, accelerate, then scaling. Thank you very much. I think the big idea I have in my mind can become a workable one.
She remembered that off the top of her head. So you may get the biggest prize for the day.
Start by thanking you for this great information that you have taught us. Recently, I'm sure I came late. We have talked about working together as businessmen. But here, there is a problem of competition, whereby even if you work together or you form some groups to work together as groups, there are those companies that have already developed, there are those that are developing, and there are those that have just started. And you find that those businesses that have just started are the most affected, whereby like those businesses that have already acquired the right size of market, they produce good quality products, but they sell them at low price. And for you have just started, but your quality of the product is not good, but again you can't sell it at a low price because you end up making losses. So I'd like you to explain more how a starting business can make sure that it exists in the market and as well as doesn't make losses. Thank you, sir.
Capture that in terms of how do we basically work together more effectively, especially if businesses are more mature, are established and at different stages. So one of the ways we do it, actually with big ideas, is companies that come to us, we actually put them in one of those stages. It's almost similar to college, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, right, graduate program. So we treat our ideas stages the same way. So if somebody comes to us, they may have already been in business for a long time, and we put them right in a different stage and work with them differently than someone who's coming to us brand new, right, or in between. And so one of the ways that we kind of encourage them to work, we can't force them, we encourage them to work together, is more like mentorship. So we don't try to make it like competition, but it's more like mentorship, right? So if you're further along, and so we call it, actually we use the term tribes. So we'll do, but industry tribes. So although we work with companies all across all industries, we have, let's say, our creatives are in a tribe together. Our technology companies are in a tribe together. Our construction companies are in a tribe together. So although we'll do education by stage, those are big idea stages, we also have like networking events where we'll do it by those industry tribes from that standpoint. And then what that allows us to do is, so let's say you're in construction industry and we invite a speaker who's just very well known to come speak. Well, the brand new construction company and the mature construction company both want to come to that meeting, right, because of the person that we invited for them to come here. Well, then oftentimes in that room, because that also turns into a networking event, people get to know each other, right? And so here's the thing that I'll say about collaborating, working together. We do business with people that we trust, right? Well, the only way we get to trust somebody, we actually have to first get to know them and get to like them. So trust doesn't happen automatically. So it's really a process, right? Know, like, and then trust. So we try to create environments where people can get to know each other and get to like each other, right? And so some of those environments are more social, right? Some of those environments are may have adult beverages at those events, right? Basically alcohol and food, right? People love bonding over food. So sometimes it's like helping them build relationships outside of like sitting in a room and trying to force them to work together. But if we help them get to know each other and get to like each other, build community, then they're asking questions. Oh, what are you doing in business? Oh, what are you doing in business? Oh, really? Right? And then over time, the goal is that trust, right? Because now we feel like we're part of the same community. And so us as an organization, we also try to make sure that we don't create opportunities that force people to compete against each other. Because oftentimes that's what it is. You're already competing out there. Why are we going to force you to compete in here too, right? If we're all trying to get to some of the same goals. So that's kind of one of the things that we do, or a couple of things that we do at the Russell Center. Because a lot of it goes back to trust. But we can't say, oh, you just need to trust somebody and it's going to happen. That just doesn't happen, right? It doesn't happen in any other relationship. So why would we expect to happen in business? But if we can kind of walk people through a process of getting to know each other first, helping them get to like each other, right? And then organically, right, getting to trust each other, and that grows and can grow into business relationships. All right. Well, thank you all. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this. I've enjoyed it. It's been great.
Okay. I think we owe Paul a better applause than that, don't we? Yeah, no, that was great. In talking about food, Sankara, didn't you have something to announce? Why are you running? Please.
Okay, so thank you very much, whoever attended the session. I want one person to thank our speaker today. What if the speaker has something to give you?
Thank you very much for whoever has attended today's session. It has been a helpful. We take the appreciation to the U.S. mission, Uganda. We thank them very much for this preparation, and we are very grateful for that day's session. Thank you very much. May God bless you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, the way we clapped for her, we're going to double that like twice. Now, that one is, it is, a Nairobi way, at least. Okay? So, 1, 2, 3, we are thanking our speaker tonight. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I won't ask you how you find the land. Perhaps that's a question you could, answer later. But we are very, very glad. I'm sure some of you could, be able to visit the video back to see, in case you missed out any points, you can be able to have. But I'm sure for those that have been attending, this has been, the most insightful kind of talk. Even the questions, you could tell 1 hour of back and forth, we've not had it before here. And that definitely means the session was very, very insightful. My request is one, we could be able to project you from wherever you are. Whether, I don't know, whatever you'll be seated, you could allow to offer some sessions once in a while, talk about a given topic. We can be able to project here, and these guys can actually still ask questions here and there. And one day we definitely could be able to have maybe a virtual kind of tour through Rice, if it's possible. And also, in case you have any other, talks that you will be giving, we could also get some video links and share. These people could follow live or anything. But trust me, ours is a simple one, so thank you. The final request is, there could be someone in here who wants to talk to you one-on-one. Is that something we can do? Okay. So we're going to limit that definitely, but in case you want to have a one-on-one, I guess it's still allowed. Perhaps as we serve our tea, and you could be able to have that for yourself. Otherwise, thank you very much. My final request to you guys is to join in. We have our group photo, and after that, we are going to be able to go and serve some tea. And then, in case you want to engage one-on-one, you could still do. Did Mauricio tell you what he does? Who knows? Oh my. So, no. It's about you, because I'm trying to say, in case anyone wants to, again, approach him one-on-one, he's still allowed. But like you can see, my shoe is really very small. I might not be able to talk about you. I wanted to give you a minute, talk about your role at the embassy, so that in case anyone has a question within that line, they could be able to reach out. Then my team will be able to help push the tables behind, and we can have a group photo. Ladies and gentlemen, Mauricio. Okay.
Well, my name is Mauricio Hernandez. I work at the U.S. Embassy in Kampala. I work in the public diplomacy section. Our section is the one that organizes, well, we have two important sections. One is called the Cultural Affairs section, then the other one is the Information section. So in our Information section is the people who deal with the press and the spokespeople for all the issues. And then in the Cultural Affairs, we have programs such as AWI, the Academy of Women Entrepreneurs. We have programs such as we bring speakers like Paul Wilson. Yeah, so you've seen other speakers as well. Well, Peter, Peter Ericke, he is coming here very often, and so he's also bringing other speakers. So I don't know when he's coming to Mbarara, but that's what the kind of things that we do. We also have exchange programs. So, I don't know if you've heard about the Fulbright program, about the Mandela Washington Fellows program. There are applications all the time. There are deadlines. And so that is also managed by our group. So that's basically what we do, but we give grants for different things. Sometimes there are small grants, like like Paul was mentioning before, they get some money for funding from the MasterCard Foundation. The U.S. government, we have some money that is dedicated for we have different purposes, and so depending on whatever the purpose is, you guys can see and find all those grants on our website, right? Our U.S. Embassy Kampala. You just go there, and there will be the offer of all these grants with the deadlines, the requirements, and all of that. some of the grants are managed by our group, by public diplomacy, and they can be $10,000, $20,000 for different projects. You will be amazed about how many projects we fund every year. And then obviously in the embassy we have more agencies. You know, sometimes people don't know that USAID is part of our embassy. And so USAID has a lot of money, much more money than what we have in the U.S. Department of State for grants. And they work a lot in agriculture. I heard about many students in agriculture, technology, you name it. And with exports, they connect people with loans as well. So there's a lot of opportunities there. So please go to the website. And then the third other largest agency is CDC, you know, the Center for Control Disease. I don't know if you know that, but they spend, the U.S. government spends over $1 billion every year all together in all these different programs. And one of the largest investments is in health. So CDC is the one that does a lot of HIV prevention, you know, together with USAID. We also do a lot of malaria prevention. You name it. Whatever you see CDC, CDC is the U.S. government. Wherever you see USAID, that's us as well. So wherever you see the U.S. Department of State, that's me. You know, it's the U.S. Mission Uganda. That's who we are. That's what we do. We really try to help Ugandans to live a better life. That's our main goal, to help Ugandans improve. Picture time. Come on, everybody.